want to talk specifically about the queer community. I've got a friend who is a lesbian, and she had a drinking problem a few years ago, and she runs a gay former addicts group, like, Alcoholics Anonymous sort of thing, for various gay people with addictions. And there's a number of gay men and lesbians in it, and all of them are off their drinking or whatever it was, except two guys who are crystal meth users who keep using, and they and she rang me up and said, "Oh, these guys in my group keep using, and they say, oh, all gay men always have crystal meth before they have sex." Is that true? And I said, "What are you talking about?"
It's the kind of justifications you hear from people all the time who want to keep on using.
Yeah.
And it makes you deluded, it makes you lose track of reality, and then that makes you lose more because you come up with stranger and stranger justifications about why you need to keep on using it. I mean, it's a bit like my friends who work in corporate jobs and they use it as well. Wow. And they say, "Oh, I'm just using it every now and then." And I'm not going violent or psychotic. No, most people don't. Most people not psychotic in a big way, most people get depressed and anxious when they use it. That's the bigger problem. And you may not notice those things. But in terms of its use in the gay community, yes, I understand that people are using it to have sex. If they want to have sex for 18 hours, and I imagine that they're living in a fantasy world while they're doing it, that there's no intimacy, that there's no love, that it's a way of escaping. If they want to do that, then good luck trying to have sex without it in the future, because it will become very hard for them to be able to have any kind of sex and enjoy it without using crystallized meth. For me, you don't have, because you're not feeling the full gamut of emotions and you're just OCD and in a fantasy world and you're just aggressive and seeking to break taboos in your own mind, you're missing out on the affection, on the love, on the talking, on the hand holding and all that kind of stuff, which so you miss out on a lot of intimacy, and you'll have trouble doing that again if you continue to have sex on crystallized meth.
What's your future? And I mean both in your life and in relation to drugs.
Well, I've given up drugs 100%, but I still smoke marijuana occasionally if it's around, if I'm at a party or whatnot. Because writing this book helped me understand drugs more, and I've done every drug under the sun, and that's enough. There's nothing more that drugs could possibly give me, and I hate the person when I'm on crystal meth. So I don't want to sound like such a wanker, but I went to like a silent meditation retreat and I read up on Buddhism and I practice Buddhism now. And yes, I know, it's appalling, isn't it? It's worse than being an intravenous drug user, but that's just where I'm at the moment. And I pray to a Buddha and all that kind of stuff, but I'm still an arsehole, you'll be pleased to know. So I haven't completely taken on all the teachings.
Great to know.
But that's helped me a lot, and so I spend most of my time living in Thailand now, where I alternate between going and practicing in Buddha and going and seeing sex shows down in Boys Town.
But where drugs are super, super cheap.
Yeah, but it doesn't interest me at all now. It really doesn't. I have moved on, and but I get to write full time for a living now by prostituting my life like this. I've been able to now write full time, so that's just a great life because I can live wherever I like, and I just get to roll out of bed at 11 o'clock every day. I mean, I write all night, but I love my life, and I'm so lucky, and yeah, why would I need to take drugs? Because I just love life, love it,
Cool.
love it.
James Freud of the Models had an alcohol problem for a number of years. He died a few years ago. And he wrote a book called I'm the Voice Left from Drinking, which is a line from his song Barbados. All about how he'd given up drinking and blah, blah, and did a big tour and promoted it. The whole time he was drinking more heavily than ever. And then he wrote another book like a year later called I'm the Voice Left from Rehab, about how he had still been drinking when he'd supposedly been through rehab. Do you find it's hard for people to trust a former drug addict, and do you find some don't believe you?
I don't really have a lot to do with people. So most of my friends have been drug users. I've always struggled to be able to have a connection with someone who's not a drug user. I mean, I went to a writers' festival event last night And the people I immediately gravitated towards were people who seemed like they had been drug users, and they all said, yes, we'd used intravenous drugs at some point in our lives. And so we just stuck together for the night. And that has just been the way. I don't know why, but people say that too, people who have been through rehab. It is that connection, it is that nice part when you give up, is when you know somebody else has been a problematic drug user. It doesn't matter what walk of life they come from, then you have that connection. So, but most of the time now I just hang around with, you know, younger Thai men who don't really speak English. So they don't understand that I've been a drug addict.
Cool.
You know, and I just don't. I've tried telling them. They just giggle, but they giggle at everything I say. So do they understand or not? I don't know.
So how long have you been in Thailand, and what is your life there?
Well, I've been going there on and off for about 18 months, and from there I've gone through, because I lived in Kathmandu for 6 months as well to write this book, because it's so cheap there. And went to India, and I spent time living in Indonesia, and I spent time living in Vietnam, and I'm going to Manila in 2 weeks. And during that time, I've like grown into Asian guys. I've never been into them before, but I've always liked short, dark, kind of girly men, and so it's just like, well, why didn't I think of this earlier? Because, you know, supposedly they're unpopular on the scene and whatever. So I was like, oh, if I had just known this earlier, if, you know, other people don't want them, then it's their, you know, they're missing out. And yeah, there's some beautiful looking Asian boys around. And so I've been enjoying that and reading up on different things, but basically just living cheap so I can spend full time on my writing and getting better at it. And you can get better at it if you work on it every day, bit by bit by bit. And also working on my next book, which is all about extreme Asia and having extreme experiences in Asia.
Thank you. I've been speaking with Luke Williams. He's the author of Ice Age, a new book about his trip into crystal meth and out again. Thanks so much, Luke.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
Pleasure. You're watching Ben TV.